Good evening and welcome to A View for You, a twice-monthly journal about people and events of interest in the San Francisco Bay Area. My name is Peter Camarda. I'll be your host tonight. We're broadcasting to you live on Comcast Channel 76, AT&T Channel 99, and Astound Channel 30. Tonight, I'm very pleased to have two guests to talk about ballroom dancing in San Francisco. We have the two organizers of the recent California Dreaming same-sex ballroom competition, which took place here in San Francisco just this past Saturday on November 7th. We have with us Jennifer Davis and Jeff Chandler. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Peter.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the event. I had a chance to go myself and see part of the proceedings, and it was certainly very impressive. What is it like to put on an event of this size? How many participants did you have altogether?
Competitors?
Yes.
We had about 150 competitors. They came from all over the United States. We had probably about 200 people watching in the ballroom during the day, and we had up to 400 people in the evening.
That's really quite a crowd. So what kind of planning did you have to do to have an event of that size? How early did you start?
We actually started back in April, probably March or April of this year. It's an organizational circus to put on one of these kind of events. There are, multiple dances, waltz, tangos, foxtrots, rumbas. So the competitors can dance in any of these dances all day long. The competition goes from 10 in the morning till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So organizing that, as well as the performers, the professional performers in the evening, it's a lot of foresight and planning, websites, entries, all of that stuff.
It's really quite a grueling schedule for the performers as well as the
Yes,
organizers.
It was.
So tell us a little bit about your background, each of you. How did you get into this, and what made you want to run an event of this magnitude?
Into ballroom or
Yes.
same-sex? I started in ballroom. I started competing professionally about 15 years ago, and I always danced, and I was teaching English.
Really?
And I was teaching dance, and I much preferred teaching dance because there was no papers to grade.
Right.
So, and I competed all over the United States and in all the major competitions. Moved here to dance with a partner, and found same-sex ballroom, and I was immediately attracted to it because it was so different than the mainstream ballroom world I was used to. It was equally as competitive, but there was this feeling of camaraderie and in the ballroom that I had never experienced, and it was what I'd always wanted to experience. So I stayed in it and teach some same-sex classes, and then there was a different goal that they have, because they have the gay games and they have the out games to prepare for. So that's very exciting because those are big international competitions. So when the opportunity to take over California Dreaming came up, which was at the beginning of the year, I said, I would love to take it over, but I'll only do it if Jeff's going to do it with me. And we could have used more time to plan, but we didn't have it. We only got the opportunity to take it over at the beginning of the year. So next year we have more time.
Yeah.
But you had produced the show the year before, or you'd been involved with it once before?
Well, the
Yes.
the event itself has gone on for 2 years prior to this, and it was run by another group of folks doing it in the East Bay, and they were going to give it up. And as Jennifer said, she gave me a call and said, I think that they're giving up the wrong competition, and that we want to do this, and we want to make it something. And I think we both agreed the only way we would do it is moving it into San Francisco, which is, it had never been here before. And
okay.
San Francisco is such a destination, people coming in from all over the country, this is where they want to come to, is the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was not easy for us to do. But yeah, Jeff and I had been involved with it previous years as either judges or artistic directors for the show. So we were familiar with the competition, and so we really wanted it.
And your background, Jeff, you've done a fair amount of musical theater, or?
No, not really. Well, I did when I was a kid, but I started ballroom dancing in 1979, so I've been doing this for 30 years now.
Wow.
I danced competitively for 20.
Look at that body.
And yeah, that's it. It's all this clean living too. And but certainly being a gay male and living in San Francisco and having competed at a high professional level with female partners, for a long time, I have been wanting this to happen, this whole same-sex ballroom scene, and to be able to do it. And as it stands now, the National Dance Council of America, who is the governing body for all the competitive events in the United States, does not allow same-sex partnerships in their competitions.
Oh, really? Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when several people started gathering and putting together these same-sex events, and as Jennifer said, it became part of the Gay Games and the Euro Games, and ballroom dancing as a part of their events. And the Bay Area is now one of the real breeding grounds for this same-sex ballroom dancing, and it just again, it was something that I had always wanted to see happen, and now to be involved with it at this level, it's really incredible.
So you were working as a coach, Jennifer, with Photis and Ron, who were
Yes.
competitors there. We have some footage of them. I think maybe this would be a good time to take a look and see a little bit about what they did. And we're having trouble with the... We're going to Machine
compete
again.
in
There
the
we go.
upcoming California Dreaming Competition in San Francisco on November 7th. We have with us tonight Photis, Pishiaras, and Ron Jenkins. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
So let me start by asking you a couple of questions about the dancing. What kind of dance will you be preparing for the competition?
We are actually we're doing two styles of dancing. The one is standards, which are all the ballroom dances, foxtrot, vals, tango, and all the Latin dances, which is rumba, cha-cha, jive, samba.
Okay, so quite a variety.
Yes.
And what kind of practice routine do you have for an event of this size?
For each dance, we prepare a small choreography, and then it's according to how long we're going to be dancing on the floor, we're repeating that choreography. It's like it's linked, like the end of the choreography is linked to the beginning again, and usually stands for about a minute and a half per dance.
So there's a lot of focus on making a lot happen in a short period of time.
Right.
And about how many hours a day or a week do you practice?
Right now we're practicing, we just recently figured out probably about 20 hours a week on average. It's quite a bit.
Yes, that is quite a bit. So would you say this kind of dancing requires a fairly athletic kind of level of ability, or how do you keep yourselves in shape for it?
Good question. I don't know if necessary somebody needs to be very athletic or very, I would say, flexible to do this kind of dancing. As a matter of fact, I would talk not about just the same sex, but in general for ballroom dancing, is that from my experience and teaching all these years, I had students that they've been in their 80s. So it's a form of dancing that it can be danced with any type of body.
Oh, that's
So,
good. I'm very relieved to hear that. For my own sake. So then, but you do want to be, I guess, very limber and coordinated as you go through the program, right?
Yeah, that
And-
will be a plus.
And so you find the more hours you work together, the more you kind of come into harmony with each other, or what are you actually developing in all those hours of practice?
Yeah, there are several things with ballroom. I think first of all you have to develop basic technique. You have to learn the basic steps. But the one thing about ballroom that I think is unique is that it is a partner dance, and there's a lot of partnering technique that to get good at you really have to practice it. And that's one of the things that Photis and I have really tried to focus on, is not just learning our steps, but to really improve our technique as a couple and as a partnership. So it takes a lot of practice to get comfortable with that.